What's up, guys? How are you all doing? Today we are going to be taking a look at how to create your own Wi-Fi enabled switches that you can use with Home Assistant. If that sounds like something that you'd want to do, stay right here because it's coming up on M.I. Sperry. Okay, guys, so now what we're going to be doing is, like the intro said, we are going to be creating our own Wi-Fi enabled switches for the Home Assistant, which we will then couple with our Alexa Pi, and we're going to be seeing how to do all that. So first things first, we need to be able to program our little Wi-Fi enabling module. What that's going to be is that's going to be the good old ESP8622. I'll show you a picture of it. So the ESP8622 is a little small device that is very, very tiny, that is a Wi-Fi enabling device. So what it is basically it accepts Arduino code. So we're going to be writing some Arduino code for this. So those of you that request Arduino videos, this is kind of one. And we will put that code on it, and we will get our SSID and our IP addressing and all that jazz hooked up inside that code, as well as the start of the Home Assistant code as well when we put that together. So first things first, though, we need to take care of some hardware. So I've got the glorious hardware drawing shown right here. This is how we will be connecting it. Now, I will say something that, to tell you the truth, it was very difficult for me to figure this thing out. There is very little documentation out there. There's just a lot of people showing you that they've used it and it works. But no one really actually tells you. In fact, when I first learned about this thing, I didn't even know that it accepted Arduino code. So I'm going to tell you right now it does, and I will show you how to put it on there. So first things first, this basically right here, I just did with these tags. Basically, you're going to use a UART device. So I'm just use those USB UART devices. So USB to UART work very well. You could use a serial to a USB adapter, but the little UART ones are very nice. I've got one from Seed Studio that I'm using. You can get them off Adafruit. You can get them pretty much anywhere. You can get them off Amazon. In fact, I'll see if I can't link one to one that's in Amazon so you guys can pick one up. But that's all you need. Most of the time, those are 3 volt. Now, be very careful. You do not want to put 5 volts to these things. They literally are 3 volt. They have absolutely no voltage regulator. They have absolutely no over voltage protection. So you can smoke these with 5 volts. So do not put 5 volts on it. 3 volts is good, which is fantastic for battery applications because 3 volts is pretty much exactly a single cell LiPo battery. So 3 volts. So we're going to put that 3 volts on the VCC. You're also going to tie this CHPD. You're going to tie that pin to a high. That's basically kind of like an enable that turns it on. So you can do that. I mean, you could probably build other hardware that disables that if you want to like have longer battery life and things like that. But for our intents and purposes, it's just demo. We're going to attach that to a high. And then we've got our receive and transmit. Now, they do need to crossover. Okay, so you've got transmit of the USB goes to receive of this guy. You've got receive of the USB is going to go to transmit. Okay, so make sure those cross over. Receive goes to transmit, transmit goes to receive, so on and so forth. Then we've got the ground, which goes to the ground pin, but there's a couple other things that we need to do grounding wise to get this thing to work properly. First thing first is the reset button. As it says, it will reset the device. If you ground down this pin, it will basically cause it to reboot internally. It does have a micro on it, and it will reboot. Okay, so now usually you leave that floating. That's fine. You don't have to tie it to a high or anything. Just leave it floating, and it'll start up normally once powered. Now, the next one is the GPIO 0 pin. This is important because this is how we will get it into bootloader mode. Yes, it does have a bootloader, so that's how it works with the Arduino compiler, so that it'll load in. It has kind of like the Arduino bootloader. Okay, so how you enter bootloading mode is you will ground down GPIO 0. Okay, so that's why I have this switch here that goes to ground. Is it will ground out that pin, and while that's being held down, we'll basically press this button and basically reset the device, okay? And that way when it boots, it will go into bootloader mode, and it boots very, very fast. So, I mean, you literally have to just hold this down and just tap this button, and off it goes. But then I want to use the GPIO 0 as GPIO. I do want to use it as the pin that I'm going to toggle the switch. And you could hook anything to this. You could hook a MOSFET to it and hook a relay to it. You could hook, you know, whatever you want to this thing. For demonstrational purposes, I just hooked an LED to it. Since we're using 3 volts, I figured 20 milliamps is probably bright enough. So I calculated resistor to be 165 ohms, and Bob's your uncle. So, and then of course that goes to ground. But I basically have the ability to pull that pin to a ground before that so that I can enable this into bootloader mode. And that's pretty much it. That's it hardware-wise. Very simple, very straightforward. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we will move on to the code section. So let's move on to code. Okay, so now I've got the code in front of us. So first things first, though, we need to set up our Arduino compiler with a couple of things. There are going to be a couple of libraries that we want to install. So first things first, I've already got this installed, but if you don't have it, what you do is we're going to go to the boards. So you're going to go to the board, and you go to Boards Manager. Now, inside the Boards Manager, once it loads, we should be able to type in, I hope you guys can see this, it's kind of small, ESP8622. Yeah, there it is. So down here. So the ESP8266. Yeah, is this one? Okay, so we're gonna use that one. Usually you'll hit install. That says remove because I've already installed it, but you'll hit install. So you need that. That's the first thing you'll need. Then the next thing is you need this pub sub client library, as well as the other library. I think when you install the board, it installs the libraries, but we'll check. All you do is come up here to Sketch. You go to your library manager, and we go to Manage Libraries. Now, inside the Manage Libraries, let's see, I can't remember. Is there a specific library? Arduino, Wi-Fi library. Yes, there it is. Adafruit has one. So there we go. You could install that. Yeah, see, I didn't install this one. I believe that the library, this ESP8266 Wi-Fi.h comes in with the, yeah, it does. It comes with when you install the board. So I didn't actually have to install the library here. I believe it started with the board. Now, if I am wrong, please let me know. It's been a while since I actually installed all this, so I might have forgotten. So definitely let me know down in the comments or whatever if I have missed something, because it does happen. But I know the definite one is the pub sub client. You have to install that. What this is for, okay? The pub sub client is for MQTT. Don't ask me what it stands for. I don't remember. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments. Anyway, MQTT is basically the service that we are going to be using, service and like protocol-ish that we're going to be using to transfer our IP information from our little wireless device to our Home Assistant, all right, and vice versa. So that's how Home Assistant will be able to turn on and off a Wi-Fi device, will be through the MQTT. So you need the pub sub library, so that way you can call the MQTT commands and make it work. Okay, so first things first, we will get into all of this. I'm going to probably have this in a later video, really heavily going through all of this. So all we need to know is I'm just going to walk you through what you need to do to set it up for you. So you need the SSID. So in between these quotes, you'll type your SSID of your Wi-Fi. You will type the password of your Wi-Fi right hither. You then will give the MQTT server IP, which we will get into that here in a moment. But you'll type that server IP address in, which what I did was I ran it locally on the Raspberry Pi that I was doing HomeAssistant on. I just went ahead and enabled the default MQTT server, which I will show you here in a minute how to do. But I enabled that, and that way it showed. So the IP address of my HomeAssistant is the IP address that I'm going to use for my MQTT server. All right. And so then it does all the various yada 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 setup, as well as print some stuff out to the serial monitor, so that way you can monitor it serially and see the connections and how it's doing. And then there's the call to the MQTT server on the port, which we will have to do some port forwarding. Well, take it back. We won't have to do port forwarding unless you're using an external MQTT server like Mosquito or one of those. But since we're using it internally, we don't have to do any port forwarding. It'll be just fine because it's on our internal network, not coming from the outside through the NAT. So that's pretty much all you have to do. So setup, real simple, SSID password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this moment to type my stuff in, and then I will come right back and we will see how to get this installed on the ESP8622 or 8266. I don't remember. I am dyslexic. It happens. Anyway, but I'll be back in a flash. Okay, guys, so I've got this. I got it all typed in up above. Trust me, I do. So now it's time to go ahead and flash this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Tools, and then when we go to Boards, we make sure we select the generic ESP8266 module, because that's what I am using. So once we select that, now the majority of these that I see, these are basically the setups. You got the 40 megahertz, the CPU frequency is 80 megahertz, yada, 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 yada. Now, I will go ahead and put a link in the description to where you can get some of these. And what's great is they are very inexpensive. They're super affordable. I think that's why they're so popular. So anyway, these are the settings that I have for them. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. You may have to turn, since there's no way I can make this text bigger. Except unless I had one of those magnifying programs, which I do not. So unfortunately, so what you will have to do is just crank up the resolution, or go to the gear down in the YouTube video and crank up it to like 720p or something like that, and you'll be able to see it. Hopefully, if your internet connection will hold out. Port is a major port. You have to go to whichever COM port your device is on. I will show you how to check that just in case you do not know. So you go to your device manager, and once you plugged in your USB UART device, you will go to the ports in COM, and you see mine is the USB serial port. It is COM 5. So inside of my thing here, I will choose the COM 5. All right. So COM 5. Speed, majority of these, the ones that I've seen, are all 115200. Sometimes they are 576, but the majority of the time I see 115200 is what I see. But I've read, I haven't seen myself personally, but I've read that sometimes they're 576. So anyway, mine are 115200. So I suggest you set that on yours. So first things first, we got to compile all this malarkey. So let it compile. Down here in the window, right down below, I'm going to put a pin over here where I can point to things. Okay. So basically what we've got is we've got the ESP8266 or 8622, whatever it is. We've got it down here. I've got it wired up kind of crazily. My UART device is right here. I just plugged the stuff in there. I could probably show you a pic of what mine is. I might be able to pull it up. Maybe I can pull it up. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to see if I can't pull this up for you right fast. You see that? So what that is, let's see if I can get it bigger. This is one of the FTDI ones. Let's see, how do we? Oh, there we go. Super big. Okay, so we've got the VCC, transmit, receive. Don't use RTS, don't use CTS, but we do use ground. So there's the cabling on mine. And like I said, down below, let me scoot this. Scoot it on the bench. See, that's basically what I have hooked up. I've got the ground and all the other pins. Oops, all this stuff. Got that all hooked up. So there we go. Get that back to Normalsville. So this is actually powered up right now because I'm using the VCC that is powered up on the actual UART. No, I do not want to save. So anyway, so it looks like we're done compiling. So now we are going to start this sucker up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn real quick over to here so I can see what I'm doing. But what I'm going to do is I am going to ground down GPIO 0, and then I'm going to reset the device. So give me a second. So that was me grounding down GPIO 0. And then for my reset, I am not fancy. I'm not putting buttons everywhere. I'm doing what most everybody does in the world. I'm just using a wire and just touching the ground pin to reset it. It's no big deal. So I'm holding it reset. Now I'm letting go. Get a little bit of a blip. It should now be in bootloader mode. So now I'm going to go in to here into upload, and I'm going to hit upload. And it should compile, and then it should upload to our device. Okay, I see the blinky light. See that light blinking? I don't know if you can see that. Right there. See that blinking? That's telling me that it's getting it, and then I can see down here in my Arduino compiler that it is receiving. So we'll let that go ahead and upload that code. Very slick. It's very nice. So basically, you can do whatever you want, even if let's say you're not using this for HomeAssistant. You're just using this as some device. You can write whatever code you want in here. In fact, I believe with the Arduino library or with the Adafruit libraries and whatnot, I think they have where it is examples. I think they have example. Yeah, here they all are. You have DNS servers, you have web server, Wi-Fi, mesh. They have all kinds of example codes that all you got to do is just flash to this thing, and then voila, you have it. It's slick. So, looks like we are finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbuckle GPIO 0, and then I'm going to see if it'll connect. We'll open up our serial monitor and we'll see what it does. Okay, I got it in reset right now, so let's open up serial monitor. Open on my other monitor. Just a minute. There we go. Okay, so on the serial monitor, 115200. Okay, and that's also what we defined in here. We defined it as 115200. Where are we at? Where? Oh, where? Where did I? Oh, it's got to be in here somewhere. It's got to be in the setup. Or not. Oh, we defined it in here somewhere. There it is. Serial.begin under the Wi-Fi setup. So we set up the serial prompt to be the 115200. So I'm going to bring that back up. And then here's another one that I noticed that does not work if you don't have this. You want both new line and carriage return to be selected right here. So both NL and CR, new line, carriage return selected. Otherwise it won't report right. So let's go ahead and take it out of reset. Boop. I get some gibberish. Connecting. Wi-Fi connected. Attempting MQTT connection. Connected. Now, you won't get the MQTT connection probably if all you do is flash this and you haven't set up the HomeAssistant yet. If you set up HomeAssistant, then you will be able to connect up. It'll connect to the MQTT server. So, speaking of which, let's go ahead. That's it. That's all you got to do for the ESP device, the ESP8622 or 8226, whatever it is, 8266, whatever. That's all you got to do for your Wi-Fi card. Super, super simple. I knew it was simple. It's just not well documented. So here you go. Here's the video. Please share. Because trust me, I hunted all over the place, and all I saw was people putting this together or people flashing code to it, but there was no explanation how they wired it up, how they hooked it up, how they got the code on it. So that's what I'm doing for you here, because I did not see it anywhere. And so if any of you have searched for it and to no avail and about ripped your hair out of your head, this is for you. So anyway, guys, that's all there is to it. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Make sure, I think we'll go ahead and end the video here. We will continue with part 2 when we set up the actual Home Assistant side of the world. But this is how you set up the ESP8266 or 8622, whatever. This is how you set it up. So, any case, thanks, guys. Take care. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz, because it really helps the channel. And I really want to get this one out there, because I do know that I struggled something fierce trying to find any sort of information out there, and it was until I read like 16 different things and piecemealed it all together to figure out how to make it work, or at least how to wire it up so I could actually get the code onto it. So, in any case, so please share this video so that way others that are like me and struggling around trying to figure out how to make this work can find this and easily get going with it. So, in any case, thanks, guys, and we will see you next time.